Honoring Black History, sponsored by Bojangles.
Today, News 2 continues our recognition of the contributions of African Americans with a look at how children led the desegregation movement in Charleston. News 2's Carolyn Murray spent time with one of the students involved in a landmark school desegregation case. Carolyn.
Rivers High School was an all-white high school until 11 black students sued District 20 of the Charleston County school system to be admitted in the 1960s. I spoke with one of the plaintiffs of that lawsuit who explained gaining equity in education was not child's play, but children were put on the front lines. You remember your first encounter with discrimination or racism?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of my earliest memories was of how as a child, I would be accompanied by a parent or one of my older siblings, and how we would have to go on the bus through the front door, put our money in, get off the bus, and then walk to the back door in order to ride. And I may have been 3 years old when that happened for the first time, but I'll never forget it.
Dr. Millicent Brown grew up in downtown Charleston in the 1950s, overhearing local and national leaders talk about radical change.
People like Matthew Perry, Judge Perry, and Omega Newman. We had Roy Wilkins, Ralph Abernathy, Thurgood Marshall would stay with us. It was very important that our house was a safe place. It was a safe place for conversations, and so meetings were held.
Her father, J. Arthur Brown,
folks knew that they could come and talk to my father.
Was a community activist and president of the Charleston chapter of the NAACP.
In my house, with my parents, there was always talk of change.
Her older sister, Minerva, was originally the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit to desegregate District 20 of the Charleston County School District. But litigation in the courts was slow, and Minerva Brown graduated high school before the case was heard. So J. Arthur Brown replaced 12-year-old Millicent in Minerva's place as the lead plaintiff among 11 students.
There were rules and customs that we were a part of just not going to accept anymore.
A 7th grader with no prompting or preparation from her parents, Brown made her case for integration before the Charleston County District 20 Board.
I don't understand why my school continues to get books that have been used and abused and tossed aside after white students have used them. There's something just unfair to me about that.
Millicent Brown et al. Versus School District 20 became the landmark case for desegregation of South Carolina schools.
There were 10 other students who were also in that court case. There had been, I think, 15 students when it was in my sister's name.
You would eventually begin Rivers.
3 years after that encounter with the school board.
September of 1963, when Brown walked into Rivers High School, was 9 years after the United States Supreme Court decision establishing racial segregation in schools unconstitutional.
I had things thrown at me. I had names called. People called me ugly names. There were people who just absolutely refused to acknowledge my presence.
There were bomb threats, too. Brown said there was no question about what some people thought about desegregation.
There were other manifestations that you are not wanted here. And it came from some of the teachers as well as from the students.
Brown says she also wants people to understand the enormous responsibility desegregation had on children.
We were trying to change society. We were trying to make strides towards a more unified populace, but it was done on the backs of children. I think that's a heavy psychological burden to put on children. I know a lot of children had it worse, but I've spent years of my professional life thinking about the emotional impact that happened, not just physical abuse, because physical abuse is just one kind of abuse.
Brown says despite the difficulties she endured as a pioneering student, there was no backing down, no turning around. Somebody had to do it.
We knew our rights. They were tax-paying citizens. I had the right to go to any public school that was run by Charleston, and in this case, Charleston District 20.
And Dr. Brown compiled a collection of essays called Somebody Had to Do It about her experiences, as well as the experiences of other children who desegregated schools during the civil rights movement. It can be found at the College of Charleston's Avery Research Center for African American Studies.